My name is Glennie Porter, and David Porter is my son. David knows that I'm a very private person. I don't usually do this type thing. However, last year he had me do my mac and cheese, and I was supposed to have done the macaroni, the Hoppin John at the same time, but however, I had some problems and I did not do it. This year, I'm gonna do the Hoppin John for him, and David, this is the last video, because I'm not good at this type of thing. Okay.
So tell us what Hoppin John's is.
So, Hoppin John is one of the dishes that my family would have at New Year's, because it's supposed to be one of the things that's supposed to bring good luck for the new year. So it's Hoppin John, collard greens, and some kind of pork. So
now your family's from where?
My family is from Charleston, South Carolina, and what I'm telling you is what I remember from what my stepmother Eloise Davis and my aunt Alice Miller would do at Christmas, pardon me, at New Year's. So as I remember it, I'm trying to carry the tradition on so that we still have some of the things from the past from Charleston, South Carolina.
Tell us some of the key ingredients. What's involved in preparing this dish?
Well, first of all, we need the cow peas, and it's cow peas. Usually it's some kind of a pork, and they would use, my family would use the ham hocks, if they have a good old ham bone, the leftover from Thanksgiving, that's excellent. But those are the main things that they usually use.
So now you say cow peas. The cow peas and black-eyed peas the same thing?
No, they're not. Cow peas, first of all, is a smaller pea than the black-eyed peas. It doesn't have the black eye, and it's a reddish color. And to me, it has its own unique flavor.
Okay. So go ahead and tell us, so you get those things together. How long does it take to prepare? How long does it take to prepare the whole dish normally?
Well, it takes close to 3 hours, because you have to, I'll tell you, first of all, you have to get your peas and what they call, you sort the peas out, because some of that little pebbles in it or whatnot, and you get the foreign stuff out of it. And then either you soak it overnight for at least 3 to 4 hours. And then you put your, I'm using ham hock, which we usually use with my family. So you have to put your ham hock and your peas and the water and seasoning in together and cook it for about 2.5 to 3 hours.
So tell us about the other items that you have here, your spices and stuff.
You have the cow peas, which you can see, and I don't want to expose the name of the company because I don't have their permission to use their name. And you have the ground sage, you have bay leaves, you have garlic and onion. Now usually... So now cow peas, where can you find cow peas? Well, most stores do not carry it, but now I get it at Walmart. Used to be, now that I live in Florida, used to be I could get a little store called Family Country Store, something like that, and they didn't carry it, and when I found it, usually in Walmart. Okay. I put the meat, which is the ham hock, in with the seasoning and the peas, and it cooks for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and I have all the seasoning that goes into it up front. Okay. Now, the peas has cooked to a point, it should get to a point where it's just tender. It shouldn't be overcooked or overdone or anything like that. And I'm going to take the meat out the pot, and I'm going to set it aside because I'm going to use it later on in the recipe. Okay. So tell us, what are we looking at here? This is the ham hock. Okay. And this has been cooking how long? About 2.5 to 3 hours. Okay. Okay, I'm taking this out, and I need, give me that big bowl over there. That just that one. Yeah. Thank you.
Now this is a serious bowl. How long has this bowl been around?
Oh gosh, longer than I can remember. I'm sure it's over 60 years old.
That's a serious cooking bowl. They don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, And this is the ham hock that I'm taking out of the pot, and I'm going to set it aside, and you'll see I'm going to use it later on. See how it's cooked down? That
bones exposed.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to leave it because I now need to get my rice into the pot, because remember I told you I put the meat and the peas in to cook, and I had to cook about 2.5 to 3 hours, okay?
Okay, so now, and what kind of rice are you using?
I'm using, what do you call it, Dan?
Is it long grain rice?
I'll tell you right. See, at my age, I don't remember things that well anymore. But okay, I'm using the long grain rice, and it should be parboiled white rice.
So it's already parboiled?
Huh?
It's already parboiled?
Yeah, you buy it parboiled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's parboiled, and white and long grain.
Okay.
Okay, and I cook that in with the peas, the ham hock, and roughly 6 cups of water, and we're going to be using 3 cups of rice. So now I'm going to have to get my rice into the pot because I need to add it so that the peas does not overcook, because you don't want your peas to get soggy. Now I'm adding the rice, and I have my seasoning in there, which I think I told you about before. And now I'm adding the rice in with the seasoning. Now this part is very important because you want to stir that to make sure that it's all blended in, okay? And then it's now going to cook. And the thing about it, you need about 2 inches of liquid. So after you put the rice in, about 2 cups of liquid. How do you know 2 inches? Look at this finger. Here's 2 joints. That's about 2 inches. Unless you want, you can stick your finger in if you want to. It's hot, so I wouldn't advise you do that. But you can eyeball it and see what's happening. And so then I'm going to let it cook, and that's roughly about 2 inches. And I'm going to let it cook, and you'll see. This is, once I bring it back to a boil, it's going to cook for about 45 minutes to an hour. And if there's, when I felt that there's 2 inches in there, so let's say it was more than that, I would use my ladle over here and take this ladle and take some of the liquid out and put it aside. So later on, if it's not that the rice is not done, you can add it back. Sometimes you may have to add water to it because you don't have enough liquid, but usually I figured out so I have just the right amount of liquid and what have you. Okay, so now this is going to take about 45 minutes at least in a low boil, not a heavy boil, but a low boil, okay? I'm going to cut the meat off of the bone. It doesn't have a lot of meat on it, but it has some, and people like to get the meat. And then there are other people who like the bone. And once Karen, your cousin from New York, was here, and I was cooking to her, and I took the bone out. I threw most of it away, and then we had dinner. Then Karen, your father, go, "Where's the bone?" Your father, I said, "I threw it." What? The two of them was sharing a little bit of bone down there because I was trying to serve it in a hurry. But now usually like.
My sister Kathy's dog,
Huh?
he would probably like the bone.
What?
I said Kathy's dog Thunder.
Oh yeah, he liked to be in the hospital too. Yeah, he loved it. As I say, it's not a lot of meat on it. But
It adds the flavor.
yeah, right, and that's what people like. And so as I said, so, and I'm just gonna take my finger and hold that up for a few minutes.
cook's fingers have like a special blessing of ain't no germs in the cook's finger. That adds a flavor to it.
And see, this is the part that people like because they like to. Like I said, it's not a whole lot, but it mixes in with the Hoppin John and it makes everybody real happy. And I have the peas cooking over here. In a few minutes, I'm going to give it a stir. And the reason why you want to stir the Hoppin John while it's cooking, because, yeah, cooking fast, and I want it to right now, because you don't want it to...
Will it get sticky or something? Will it get sticky or something?
Yeah, and get sticky, and you want the oil to cook together. So I'm going to give it a stir, and you don't keep stirring it like you're mixing a cake anytime. You like just get a good stir from the bottom because you don't want it to get sticky and whatnot. See how it's boiling? See that? Okay, that has done together. And that's all I'm going to do, give it a stir and let it finish cooking. And glad I poured it because it needed to be stirred. I don't stir it that much, just maybe about 3 times all together. Because it does have some starch and it will stick and what have you.
So again, it's gonna how long is it gonna take for the?
It's going to take approximately 45 minutes because you cook it under a low flame, and this is probably a little bit too low, a low flame. And once the rice cooks, the peas are already cooked, so once the rice is cooked, then it's a done deal.
Okay, so that's how you make Hoppin John.
So that's how I make Hoppin John. Okay, at the end, because I'm going to add the meat, and I take the meat, I cut it off the bone, and when this is finished, I'm going to add the meat back to the cooked peas and rice, and add the meat back into with it. So when you're eating it, you're getting bits of meat and what have you. Then once I add the meat back into it, it's done. And the thing about it, usually if we're having a party, we usually like to make, my family, make it the night before so that the flavor and everything goes through it. First of all, I said my family are from Charleston, South Carolina, and you Charlestonians need to keep the Hoppin John going the way we know it. And there's a few of you that's doing it now, but my daughter out in California, she did it one time. I was sending her the canned cow peas because she could not find it. Now she finds it at Walmart, and she makes it. And my niece in New York, she makes it, and she uses turkey wings, because different meats you can use is the ham hock, it's the leftover ham bone, fatback, strigoline, several type of meat that people will use and what have you, and it's according to the individual.